What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Maverick here with our weekly episode of Monogatari. Today with Nekomonogatari episode 2. So last episode I made a little bit of an oopsie here. The events of last episode, particularly those that happened between Araragi and Hanekawa, it was mentioned before, right? However, it wasn't mentioned in Kizu, it was mentioned back in Bake. It wouldn't really make sense for it to be mentioned in Kizu since the events of Kizu happened happened before the events of Neko. So, yeah, a little bit of an oopsie there. If I had thought about it a little bit more, then, I do these things live, okay? Cut me some slack here. I think more importantly, though, I didn't misremember anything in terms of what actually happened. So, not much actually happened. We're pretty much left on the same point that we did at the end of last episode, barring the points where Hanekawa actually turned into a cat and realized Araragi uses Shinobu's power to contain her, I guess, which presumably will happen by the end of this series. Not really sure if it's going to happen immediately in this episode. So I guess let's just jump in and find out. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh yeah, we're also going to be able to see Ashino again. Yay. I missed that dude. Not the same without him. Oh, never mind. It's just Shinobu. So this is how she... Yeah, actually, throughout the entirety of Bake, she never said anything, right? She actually wants the donuts instead? Is this how she started, this is how she started having her affection towards donuts, I guess. I'm kind of curious if we how can I say it? If we add up all the screen time of the characters for this first season of Monogatari, like all the way up till the end of Nekomonogatari Kuro, I wonder who's going to be the girl that has the most screen time. I actually think it might be Hanekawa and not Senjogahara. Right? Which is... Oh. Dun, dun. I prefer the... Are you an animal, Shinobu? Shinobu training. Araragi. No, but oh. What in the world? Oh, she talked. Hey, Yoshino. What? Really? So that means they don't. Then can they really be said to have their own consciousness? If they can be changed as easily as through the thoughts of humans? Oh, Oshino's talking about. Huh? Wait a minute. Was Araki already aware? Okay, thinking back to Kizu. Oh, okay, so more things happened. Really?
ちょっと待て星野。僕と羽川が埋めてやった猫は怪異とかじゃねえよ。そういうんじゃなくてありものとしての。
そういうんじゃないだろうと。僕もそう思うよ。普通ならね。だけど荒木くん、委員長ちゃんは普通じゃないだろう。あの子はマジでヤバいんだぜ。車にひかれた猫を埋めてあげたなんていう些細でありふれた、言ってしまえばハートウォーミングな日常のエピソードさえ彼女の手にかかれば天地を揺るがす大事件になりかねない。取り立てて猫はまずいだろう。あの委員長ちゃんに触り猫はドンピシャだ。
星野、じゃあ僕はどうしたら。
I can't quite remember. Back in Kizu,
僕は手っ取り早く二手に分かれようか。
was there already hints of...
僕は君たちが埋めた。
Ah, actually, I think there were, right?
つまり、
Hmm.
僕はお前に猫を埋めた場所を教えればいいんだな。
その代わり荒木くんには別の重要な役割を担ってもらう。言ったろ。だから二手に分かれるんだよ。荒木くんには委員長ちゃんに直接アプローチしてもらう。
直接って。
今から委員長ちゃんの家を訪ねるんだよ。そして実際に会って顔を見ながら目を見ながら話をして彼女の無事を確認してくるんだ。
やれやれ、なんか大変なことになってきたな。つうか、こんな時間に家を訪ねてどうやって羽川に会うんだよ。
One. Oh. Aha. You recognize her just by her breasts? Alright. Alright, and also by her underwear. And what is she dragging?
Hanekawa。
あ、にゃんだお前。ご主人の友達かにゃんかにゃのか？にゃはは。そういえば見覚えがある気がしねえでもねえにゃ。俺を埋めるときに一緒にいたやつか。ふん。じゃあちょうどいいにゃ。俺にゃ全然わからにゃいが、友達同士ってのは助け合うもんにゃんだろ。つうわけでこいつらのこと、あとは任せるにゃ。
So who are them? Her parents?
にゃんだっけにゃ。そうそう、そいつらはご主人の両親ってやつらしいぜ。ふん。よくわかんにゃいけど。
Yeah, I think they mentioned that also in the flashback as well.
処分してやっといてくれ。にゃんにゃらお前が殺してもいいぞ。
おい、待てよ、羽川。
待てとかよ。そうやってにゃんでもかんでもご主人に期待してんじゃねえよボケが。お前らがそんにゃんだからご主人がこんにゃんにゃんだろうが。
Yuck.
騒ぐにゃよ、これくらいのことで。その程度の痛み、ご主人がずっと耐えてきた苦痛に比べれば。
Wow.
蚊に刺されたようにゃもんだろうが。
ご主人ってのは羽川のことか。
Well, no shit.
そうだよ人間。ご主人にはもう俺がいる。だからお前はいない。両親も友達も誰もいらにゃい。ご主人自身さえいらにゃい。
いらないって。
俺がご主人を自由にしてやるんだよ。誰よりも自由ににゃ。知っているだろ？
What is Hanekawa's?
地球にも匹敵するスケールのストレスから解放してやるところから始めよう。
She's harboring that much stress? Holy crap. I don't know that he has all this blood leaking out. It's probably good to help revive or heal her parents, right?
触り猫が去った後の僕が第一にしたことは、とっちらかった状況の後始末である。まずは救急車の呼び出し。そして本来ならば住宅街の道路に血液で打ち水をしてしまったというシチュエーションの処理には大量の水とデッキブラシが必要となってくるけれど、まかれた僕の血は完全に蒸発しきっていた。血液の蒸発などに疑問を覚えることはもとよりない。春休みには見飽きた光景だ。むしろその血の蒸発にやけに時間がかかった事実に対し、僕はここで疑問を覚えてもよかったはずなのに。
Just like that? Okay. You know, if you call 110, they can actually trace back to who it was that called it.
お目覚めかい、荒木くん。随分とお寝坊さんだね。待ちくたびれたよ。もう太陽も沈んじまうぜ。
Oh, they.
僕12時間以上寝てたのか。
そのまま死んじゃうんじゃないかと思ったよ。
おい、星野、羽川が。
ああ、わかってるわかってる。もう聞いたって。委員長ちゃんが猫になってたんだろう。心配は的中したってわけだ。吸血鬼ちゃん、もういいぜ。
She was watching over.
大体どうしてこんな時間にあいつが起きてたんだよ。
いやいや、荒木くんの怪我があまりにひどかったからね。吸血鬼ちゃんにはちょいと協力してもらってたのさ。俺、君たちはつながりすぎるほどにつながっているからさ。回復力についても連動している。したがって距離が近ければ近いほどそのスキルは強度を増すのさ。
はあ。
後でお礼言っときなよ。
しかし確かに意外じゃあったぜ。あいつに血を与えた直後だったからな。もっと回復力があるもんだと思ってた。
いや、今の荒木くんの不死力ならば相当の負傷にまで耐えられるはずさ。致命傷以外ならば瞬時に回復するくらいだ。だけど怖い。
She's special, right?
相手が悪かった。
Yeah.
相手というか相性かな。相性が悪かった。触り猫はダメだ。
ダメって。
触り猫に触られた。触られたがゆえの負傷はただのダメージじゃないからね。触らぬ猫にたたりなしだ。荒木くん、エナジードレインってわかる？
Like a parasite?
でもエナジードレインってむしろ吸血鬼の特性じゃないのか？
その通りだよ。だけど別にそれが吸血鬼の1000倍特許ってわけでもない。
つまり僕は左腕を引きちぎられると同時に不死力までも引きちぎられていたってことか。
触り猫には触られたらそれでアウトなんだ。
それで触り猫か。しかし吸血鬼の不死力を圧倒するほどのエナジードレインっていうのは確かに脅威だな。
Wouldn't that be like a natural enemy?
これは僕の言い方が悪かったな、荒木くん。相性が悪かったっていうのは荒木くんとの相性って意味でさ。別に能力的に触り猫が吸血鬼に匹敵するという意味じゃないよ。
Huh.
だって吸血鬼は怪異の王なんだぜ。王様、キングなんだぜ。同じエナジードレインとは言ってもランクは違うさ。触り猫も吸血鬼にとってはただの雑魚だ。
雑魚。
荒木くんは吸血鬼ちゃんに血をあげた直後で、そりゃいくらかは吸血鬼化しているんだけれど、あくまでも人間。怪異そのものに勝てるわけがない。
怪異そのもの。
荒木くんに教えてもらった猫ちゃんのお墓を軽く荒らしてみたんだけどさ、何も埋まっていなかったよ。事態はおよそ最悪だね。
そっか。
inside isn't fully connected.
吸血鬼ちゃんはもう寝てるだろうから、今度お礼を言っときな。
Yeesh.
彼女にとっても荒木くんに死なれたら困るだろうから。
If he dies, she dies, right?
当然なんだけどね。
それでもありがたい話だよ。栄養源としての僕を必要としてくれてるってことは、あいつが少なくとも生きようとしてくれてるってことなんだからさ。
そういう意味じゃないんだけどね。僕年人。まあいいや。じゃあ荒木くん、お家の人が心配しないうちに帰りなさい。ポケットの中で携帯電話が随分と振動していたみたいだけど、バイブ機能って言うんだっけ、そういうの。
Ooh.
多分全部カレンと月日からだ。
委員長ちゃんと違って心配してくれる家族がいるんだから。君はもう帰らなくっちゃね、荒木くん。
やめてくれよ、星野。こんな怪我は何でもない。羽川があんなことになってるのに、すごすご帰れるはずがないだろう。
すでに状況は開始されてしまっている。ここから先はプロの仕事だ。素人の、まして未成年の出張る幕じゃないんだよ。僕はこの通りのお調子者だから、そんな風には見えないだろうけどさ。荒木くんにそんなひどい怪我をさせてしまったことを悪いと思ってるんだぜ。バランサー失格だよ。僕はセオリーを無視してポリシーに反したことをしてしまった。君が今回受けた被害はかなりの割合で僕の落ち度だ。親御さんに申し訳ない。荒木くんはここまでで十分に役割を果たしたんだ。荒木小弓くん、ここから先、君にできることは何もない。君は委員長ちゃんのために何もできない。したくてもできない。気持ちの問題じゃない。技術の、実力の問題だ。強いて言うなら、この僕の邪魔をしないことが
Harsh, but probably very true. Although, of course, knowing Aragi, he's not just gonna leave it at that. Alright. So, I guess that answers the question. We are getting right into it. And I'll see you guys after this. Alrighty, so like I just mentioned, we did indeed get into the point of this story rather quickly here. And, well, I wasn't too shocked by the sort of blood and gore and all that. I think by now, 3-4 series in, we can pretty much expect the Monogatari series to have this kind of stuff, even though most of the time it is kind of lighthearted, and with people doing dumb stuff, more comedy oriented, right? But then again, I do like the sort of contrast between it being very non-serious and it being very serious as well. So, poor Aragi, but I have a feeling he's probably going to be going through this a lot more in future series as well. Anyways, for this episode, I really want to talk about two things. Number one is in regards to a point which Oshino actually made towards the apparitions. So this isn't the first time, I don't think, that this topic was brought up. The fact that apparitions can change their behavior, stemming from humans' expectations and how they think and whatnot. I think back in, was it back in Bake? When we had the flashback, or actually, was it in Bake, or was it in something else? Potentially in Bake, I think, where Aragi was having this conversation directly with the cat again. That was also something that she mentioned, right? The fact that apparitions can actually change their behavior based on what humans think. But this actually got me thinking, right? Particularly in this episode with Shinobu here, where apparently Shinobu is influenced by how Aragi thinks of her and what his expectations of her is. So by that point of logic, wouldn't it also be the same for Mayoi as well, and indeed for other apparitions? Maybe for Tsukihi. Now Tsukihi is also in a sense an apparition, right? So, Akai, basically. So, I don't know, in this sense, wouldn't it really just be Araragi molding them into what he wants them to be? I know, I kind of find that, creepy, in a way, right? And think about it, it's like, he is literally the author, and he is able to write the stories. He's able to shape how these three are. Even though they have their own conscience, they're not exactly free to grow however they like, right? Maybe I'm looking too much into this. I guess looking at it from a more lighter perspective, it's what Oshino said. It's similar to like a parent having their imprint on their children and whatnot. But I don't know. I just find it kind of peculiar to a certain extent, especially considering the fact that these ladies also have some feelings for Araki as well. I don't know. Am I the only one that's a little bit what can I say? In the past, fooling around and whatnot, I'm okay with all that. But in this case, I don't know. I feel like this is kind of something to actually think about, right? Then again, I could be entirely overthinking this, and it's not that kind of case at all. But I just thought it was kind of interesting to bring this up, particularly when we have this episode where Araki is training Shinobu to a certain extent, and it's not just an act of physical training, but the fact that his expectation of this is actually going to shape her as well. Definitely something to keep note of, I feel like. So that was the first point I wanted to make, and then the second point that I wanted to talk about a little bit is, again, back in regards to the cat itself, right? The Sawari Neko. And particularly with what what Hanekawa actually is, and what this entire thing represents, right? So I think on a basis level, it's easy to understand. Hanekawa is really stressed out, and so having this apparition appear and sort of manifest itself is sort of her way of releasing her stress, right? We've known as much since Bake that was the case. Now, the thing that I'm kind of curious about is, especially combined with what we were told in this episode. So, would the Sawari Neko literally be in a manifestation of Hanekawa's inner desires, in a sense? I think that's pretty possible, right? If we go back to Kambaru's case, that was pretty much it as well. It was basically a manifestation of her deepest desires, and so on and so forth. So I think we can pretty easily say that is the same situation with the Sawari Neko as well. And the other thing that I'm kind of curious about is, why manifest now, right? She's been living a pretty hard life through these years already. I mean, it's not the first time, I think, that she has been experiencing this kind of stress. Stress, after all, isn't built in one day. It's sort of growing upon itself, right? So I do wonder, like, what was the catalyst to push her over the top, particularly at this moment in time? And could it have anything to do with Araki himself, right? Now, later on, the second time that the Sawari Neko appeared, we do know that it was because of Araki, right? It was because of Hanekawa's feelings towards Araki that were unrequited. So that's what caused the second manifestation. However, what about this first one, right? Would it have been the same situation if she had never met Araki, she had never went through the events of Kizumonogatari, right? I think that is something that I am kind of curious about, and I do wonder if they're going to sort of explore in terms of that aspect, right? And beyond that, also, I think we can pretty clearly see from Oshino's reaction that this is, in a sense, a latent ability of Hanekawa, right? It's not just a case of there being an apparition here at this time, and so she's just a innocent bystander, I guess you could say. Maybe in this case of Sengoku or Kambaru or perhaps Senjugahara as well, just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. From what Oshino is actually saying, it seems that Hanekawa has this sort of latent ability within her, which I guess wouldn't also be too surprising, considering this is a show about supernatural stuff and whatnot, and with exorcists as well, humans that are exhibiting superhuman behaviors. yeah, I kind of feel like that is something that is going to be explored more, and potentially also why in the end Araki is frightened of Hanekawa here. So yeah, those were 2 points I wanted to make. And I guess one other thing in regards to Saori Neko, even though the kanji that they were using is a little bit different from what I expected, the kanji that they were using is actually similar. I guess it translates more to sort of a barrier in a sense. But the Saori that I was actually thinking of was touching, right? An alternate kanji of it would be touching, a touching cat, right? And considering that they made this whole deal about her abilities being able to observe the energy of people just through a touch, I do wonder this. No, actually, not wonder. I do think that this pun is fully intended, knowing that the Monogatari series is quite heavy on puns. So that's one last observation I'd like to make in regards to this episode. Quite a more serious one, to be honest. I was expecting them to fool around for another episode or so, but well, apparently this one is worthy of getting right down to business, right? And with the ending here, I mean, we all know Aragi's not going to just sit back and relax and let Oshino handle everything, right? If I were to venture a guess, since Oshino is saying that he owes Aragi one, right? He feels guilt in some sense. I kind of feel like Aragi is going to guilt trip him into allowing him to come along and also help out in solving the situation. That's my prediction for the future, the next 2 episodes. Anyways, that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next week as well. Bye bye.